AT&T notifying around 9 million of its customers about a marketing vendor the company used that was hacked in January, exposing the private information of these wireless accounts. Not the first time there has been a hack or data breach like this one. I want to talk more about it, so let's bring in the expert here. Hugh Odom is the founder and president of Vertical Consultants, a friend of the show who we talk to quite a bit when you're talking about situations like this one and how to protect yourself. Hugh, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So first off, start off by just breaking down for us exactly what happened here.
Well, as you mentioned, a third-party vendor for AT&T, which basically is a marketing vendor. So when you see basically on your phone advertising for upgrades or special offers, AT&T and the other carriers as well provide these third-party vendors information to contact people over their phones to provide those services. What happened is that third-party vendor got infiltrated by a hacker to take that information. Most of that information is your phone number, your email address, your name, etc. And this is ongoing. I mean, this is AT&T, 9 million. Earlier this year, T-Mobile was 37 million. Last year, Verizon was about 7 million. This is not isolated to one particular carrier. The reason being is that all these carriers are lucrative targets because you have a lot of customers and a lot of data.
So I guess the big question here is, who is actually doing the hacking itself?
Well, most people think of hackers as this kind of group of people in this room they're hacking in, but this is not just those that are seeking money. What we're seeing, especially over the last year or so, there's been alerts by the administration that's saying, look, there are government-backed, state-backed, more particularly China, they're backing companies to go out and get this data. We were just discussing TikTok, but one of the other ways for people who are maybe not on TikTok, they can go in, hack into these cell phone data that people have on these different carriers, and they can infiltrate those particular cell phone data information and get that and use that information to their advantage.
How do you know if you are the victim? As we know here, AT&T has notified about 9 million of its customers about this hack, about this data leak. How do you know if you're a victim of any kind of data leak or hack?
Well, the first thing is I never tell people to wait until somebody contacts you. Contact the carrier. There should also be information on any of the websites for the respective carriers if there is a hack where your information is exposed. I would go directly to them. If you hear something like this of the 9 million from AT&T, don't wait for the phone call. Pick up the phone, go on the internet, look it up, and see if your information has been part of this hack and see if it's exposed. Always be proactive, don't be reactive, because I know that AT&T is contacting people, but that contact may get lost in your emails and your texts, etc. You need to make sure that you haven't been exposed.
Is there any way to protect yourself from becoming a victim of a data leak, of a hacking, or is it kind of just up to the company that has your information?
No, the best way is every carrier should allow you, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile should allow you to basically restrict the information being shared. And again, this is a marketing share for upgrades, etc. You can go into their website. There should be a direct way that you can say, I want to restrict this data for any third-party vendor to have access. That, to some degree, protects you because the more people that have access to that data via vendors, AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile uses, the more suspect you are to a hack. In addition, always upgrade your phone to antivirus. Always get any updates, security updates you can. Secure your password. Get two-factor authorization, etc. Do as much as you can. People think of their cell phones as kind of different than their computers, but you think about how much information you have on your cell phone and how much you use it every day. It's more suspect than your computer.
Do you think companies like AT&T and others that have been the subject of these data leaks, these hackings, do you think that they are upfront enough with their customers? We know, as we mentioned, AT&T alerted these 9 million customers, but what about other companies out there?
Well, I think all the companies, including AT&T, need to be more upfront that their data is getting shared. I mean, the customer's data is getting shared with several different entities because they farm out this not only with regards to marketing, but what's happening with 5G rollout, all the networks being built out. It used to be a few big companies who were handling all this, but what's happening is there are more and more small companies that are handling the network build out. And as that expands, less fortified is the network. And this provides more opportunity for either individual hackers through groups or state-sponsored hackers, as I mentioned, via China or others, to have a way to get into that information.
And a lot of people are going to be paying very close attention to this now because you mentioned Tik Tok in China, and that kind of sets off an alarm in people's heads there. Hugh Odom, founder and president of Vertical Consultants. Anything else you want to add about this data breach and hacking before I let you go?
Sure. I think the big thing here is be secure with your data. Don't treat your phone differently than when you would with your computer or anything else. And always, as I mentioned before, be proactive. Don't wait till somebody tells you about a hack. You can get ahead of this and secure your data.
All right. Thank you again for taking the time to join us here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.